Ciao, benvenuti. Welcome to All Our Way's Kitchen. I'm Marisa from All Our Way, and I'd like to say hello and happy April. Here we are. It is the 19th, and before you know it, it's going to be over with. And today I am making a very special recipe that's close to my heart. It's gnocchi in brodo, and it is a recipe of my mom's. And she made it many times throughout the years, and it was also one of my dad's favorite. And she was the same way we are here. She liked to make simple recipes out of easy, simple ingredients that were so delicious. So anyway, I would like to get started right away. I have got chicken broth heating up right here, and you don't need very much. What you need are 2 eggs. You need some, we call it farina. This is cream of wheat. When we first came to this country, my mom could not find the semolina flour, so instead she used cream of wheat, and it works wonderfully. But you can't use the instant. You have to use the longer cooking. And along with that, Parmesan cheese. So eggs, broth, cream of wheat, and Parmesan cheese. And what I do before I start making a lot of noise, I mix about 1/4 cup of the semolina and 1/4 cup of the Parmesan, and get it nice and mixed. This is all by feel. I have never had a recipe where I followed it in particular, because especially my mom, she never wrote anything down. It was, again, all by feel. And as you know, eggs, I don't care if they say they're large or not. Most of the time, eggs are different. We've had large eggs that were large, and then we've had eggs that look like a pigeon's eggs. So anyway, I've got the broth heating up, and what we do first is you have to beat the egg whites separately from the egg yolks. So I start with the egg whites and get them to stiff peaks. Now this mixer is really heavy. This is my mom's old mixer, and I think it's about 60 years old, if not more than that. Really heavy. But my other mixer, see, it isn't very loud, nor is it that powerful, but it's powerful enough to do what it needs to do. And so my other one sounds like a jet taking off, and I didn't want to try to compete with the mixer. But you have to make sure that none of the yolks are in here, so you get the nice white, like a meringue type egg whites. So once that's done, it's just a matter of doing the eggs and getting them nice and lemony. And then we start combining together. What you do is you fold in the semolina or the farina with the Parmesan cheese. Ooh, it is noisy. And then after all that, then I add the egg yolks all together. And I gently take little spoonfuls and I just put them in the broth. It's very simple. And my mom would always tell me that in Italy, the people around our area, which was Isola d'Istria, just loved it. And it was kind of a special meal. I suppose it would be because meat in those days we couldn't get it as much as what we do now. But my mom would always make her own homemade broth. And with the broth, she always swore she would take the whole chicken and she'd save her bones and whatever. But she always put a little bit of beef in it. Hopefully the beef had a bone to it. And she always said that made the broth a lot richer. And I believe that, because right now that's all you hear is bone broth. And everybody is really into that because of the vitamins. And you can't even afford to go to the grocery store and buy broth or buy a bone to make anything. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm making gnocchi in brodo, which is these gnocchi are made out of semolina. They're not made out of the potato. And in fact, there's something similar to this, and it's called gnocchi alla romana. And that is a gnocchi where they make the gnocchi and they lay it out flat, and then they take like rounds, like a cookie round, and oh, that's starting to go good, but it is noisy. And then they put it in like a casserole, and then add additional cheese to it. I've never made it, but that's one of the things I'm planning on making. see? Nice little. All right, so I'm going to try to get some of this off so I can go ahead and beat up the eggs. It's not coming off very easily. Well, maybe I better just use my fingers. No, this thing is not going to stand up. They didn't make those in those days very easy to. That'll be all right. I'll just take most of it off there. I'll use my fingers on this one. So anyway, I do want to make the gnocchi alla romana, which I think would be very, very good. So if you're just joining us, I'm making gnocchi in brodo, which is semolina parmesan dumpling in chicken broth. And it is my mama's recipe, and she would, every Sunday, when we first came to this country, we were very poor, but anyway, we would have chicken on Sunday, and out of the chicken, she would take the bones and then make the broth, and it was just almost a treat, and because it really was good, and we ate well. We didn't have a lot, we may not have had a lot of fancy food, but what we had was all excellent. I think I might have told you that my mama's spice cabinet consisted of salt and pepper. She did have Parmesan cheese. She had a cinnamon cloves, and I think she might have had rosemary. That's it. All of them. I know that one time when she looked at my cabinet, she laughed when she saw everything I had. I'm a sucker for buying something new. And whenever I see a new spice or something, I think, oh, what I can make with that. That sounds so good. All right. So that is nice and lemony. Can you see that? It's really light in color. And this is nice and firm. So now what we do, I'm going to get this up over here, is slowly fold in the mixture, the semolina, and I should call it farina because that's what my mom always called it. I remember one time I sent Honey to get farina, and he goes, I didn't see anything called farina at the store. But there was at one time, I don't even know if they still have it now, there was a little thing on here that said farina. Wheat farina, there it is. Yeah, it isn't in big letters, so it was kind of hard to see. All right, let's see. Now, the important thing with this, I'm going to turn it up, is that a lot of times, like you do with ravioli, you don't want it boiling. You want it at a slow simmer, because sometimes if it's boiling too hard, what happens is ravioli will pop open, and this will knock it'll knock them apart. What you do is you make little rounds and you just dip them in there. And I'm sure probably most countries have something similar to this, I would say. So if you're just joining us, I'm making gnocchi in brodo. I've beat up 2 eggs separately, the egg whites and the egg yolks. I've got chicken broth simmering right here, and basically that's all that it's going to be. As you can see, you don't want to beat this in. Just lightly fold in, because you want to keep that volume, as much volume in there as you can. And it is really, really delicious. It would make a delicious first course before another meal. Our kids love this. And in fact, my sons have made this before. As I said, it's a first course. It's light because of the chicken. Okay, you can see I am going to be adding, still very light, so I'll go ahead and add this on here. You know, I was telling you last week about the allergies and everything, and I discovered something that if you suffer from allergies, especially if you've got your eyes all red and itchy, if you use the scented fabric softener with your on your sheets and bedding, that will irritate your eyes. I've stopped using. I use the softener with my other things, but with the bedding, I just use the non-scented soap, and it has made a world of difference. In the morning, they're not puffy. They were so red, and I thought, oh my gosh, it looked like I was crying. Okay, see, it still needs a little bit more. So, and I gently does it. And if you have any left over, you can always freeze it and use it some other time. It really doesn't make any difference. So again, if you're just joining us, I am making gnocchi in brodo, which is very popular in the northeast, or the northeast, around Trieste, and around and where I was born was Isola d'Istria, which is no longer Isola d'Istria. Right now it is called Isola, and it's under Croatian rule. And that's just war for you, so. And that was one of the reasons we came. It was taken over, or it was going to be, and we didn't want to live under communist rule, so we were fortunate enough to have sponsors, and we came here. We had a home. Both my parents worked. I went to school. My brother went to school. Okay, right now, it would be really good. But what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to put the egg yolk in, which will make it moist again. So as I continue, what I'll do, I'll add a little bit of the farina and a little bit of the Parmesan cheese until I get it where it's like a dumpling. There, lightly it goes. Okay, so right now I'm still gonna have to add just a teens. And the best way to do it is I put a little bit in here, and then I put a little bit of the cheese in here and combine it, and that way I'm getting an even amount, a combination. I don't want too much of the farina, and I don't want too much of the Parmesan cheese. Okay. Add a little bit more there, and gently I'll fold in, and I think that's going to be starting to, no, not yet, should be soon. So the weather here, again, I'm talking about the weather. Well, the weather here has been crazy. We get kind of warm weather towards the end of the day, but today it's cloudy and not very nice. All right. And another thing is, if you kind of let it sit there a little bit, the farina will start to, or the cream of wheat, will start to absorb. So if you hurry up and do it and then put it in, it hasn't given the farina and the Parmesan cheese a chance. Okay, we're getting there. I may even have to, it's been a few years since I've done this. I think the last time I made this was, I think, a Christmas several years ago. And unfortunately, this is something that you want to make at home. It's kind of hard to take if we've been going to the kids' house for Christmases and the bigger holidays. But since I told you that we're moving, it's going to be nice that we'll be able to have the kids over. Hopefully, anyway, they won't be too busy. Okay, just a teens more of this, and I think we're gonna do it. And I'm gonna show you the consistency so you can kind of tell how it is, because I don't want it to fall apart either. Now, I remember my mom sometimes would go ahead and add just a tad of butter to it and kind of fold it in, but I'm not going to, because for many years I didn't go ahead and do the butter. So, okay, a little bit of this, because I put a little bit of there. I don't think I even added a tablespoon. So, I mean, I'm really going slowly so as not to. And now the little secret is when you get ready to put it into the broth, what you do is you get your spoon in there and you get it nice, wet, and hot. And the spoon, then it slides off. It doesn't stick. Ah, there we go. This is just about like I like it. If you can see, what I'll do is I kind of go around and kind of form like a little bit of like a long dumpling is the best way I can describe it. Okay, make sure everything is nice and mixed. And once that starts to simmer, we'll put that in. Clean off my hands again. No wonder I don't have any fingernails. We're always in the dishwater, but that's the way it goes. I never could grow fingernails. Let me see. Okay, it's getting there. I'm just starting to see it simmer. I turned it up just a little bit to get it going, just at a nice bubbling stage. And as soon as it goes, we'll be able to do it. So anyway, we've got, would you believe we got another 10 days here and we're packing up and leaving again. So in about, not next week, but the week following that, you may, I don't know if I'll have next week. You'll just have to look online to see if I'm going to be here because we're going to be packing to go to St. Simon's Island, and it'll be a new kitchen. It'll be a different kitchen. So we've been going there for a few years, and I may just do a Facebook Live showing you around where we go. It's a very, very pretty place, very southern. Big oak, those big live oaks with all those branches hanging out. It's gorgeous. So, all right, I'm going to make sure this is nice and mixed. You know, a watch pot never boils, does it? I should have started it earlier, but I thought for sure it would be. But of course, this is a heavier pot, and that means that it takes a little longer. Oh, I wanted to tell you, if you like the recipe from last week, the Italian sausage pasta, very, very popular. I just posted it online or on my blog, and you can copy the recipe. I know I put the recipe in on Facebook because I thought, well, maybe somebody will be interested in doing it right away. But this, I don't think you can print off of Facebook. But if you go to All Our Way, you can go ahead and make a copy and have it. Now, on that recipe, too, what you can do is you can double it. It wouldn't make any difference because I only used 8 ounces of the pasta, and in that box, it had a full pound of pasta, so we still have half a pound left. Okay, it's now starting to simmer. Okay, I don't want it to go too fast. I may have to turn it down a little bit. Okay, let me start off fresh here. Okay, put it in, all right. Then take up just a little bit. And it'll just kind of go down. I'm going to turn it down. It's starting to really boil now. So if you're just joining us, I'm making gnocchi and brodo. And the gnocchi are made just of eggs, farina or cream of wheat, and Parmesan cheese. That's it. Very, very simple. And what you would do is just serve it in a bowl and have some additional Parmesan cheese along with it. And you can have this left over. It's not like they're going to dissolve or get too tough. My mom used to make these perfectly. I don't know how she did it. Every single one was exactly the same. Mine aren't quite as uniform as hers were, but they taste good. Anyway, she said they did, because I would make it for my mom and dad. Once my mom got up in age, she didn't cook, and then when my dad passed away, well, you know, cooking just for herself just wasn't fun. Although she did love to cook, and she would every now and then make a meal for our family. Okay, turn it up just a little bit. I'm not sure how many this is going to make. This is going to be plenty for at least 4 people, because basically it's, as I said, it's a first course, and you would just have maybe 2 or 3 of the dumplings in soup, or in a bowl or in a cup. How do you serve soup in a cup or in a bowl? I guess it depends on what it is. If it's a real brothy soup, I kind of like to have it in a bowl or in a cup, because that way you can, you don't want to be picking up your bowl and slurping off of it. Although what you do in your house, I wouldn't tell. You could do anything you want to do in your house. Okay. Can you see how I'm doing that? It's just a little bit rounded. You don't pack it in a lot. You just kind of roll it against the side of the bowl. Roll it like that. And then you just kind of pick it up, and then put it in there. And I think these are going to be nice and light because they look like they're floating. There we go. Yeah, one of the things that I really miss when we travel is our kitchen. And, when you have all of the stuff that you need and utensils, and of course, we've been married for so long. I've been accumulating utensils I've forgotten I have. So I have to be sure and look around before I buy anything else. One of the neatest things that we travel with is we bought a little zoodler. And we really like to do our zucchini noodles with a zoodler. And we have one, I guess they're a spiralizer. We have one that will go on the counter, but then we have this little one, and it works great. It's just real tiny. We can pack it. We've got a kitchen box that we carry with us. So we'll take our one or two of our favorite knives, and we'll take some seasoning, because if you go to the grocery store and you start buying everything fresh, the things that you use, seasonings and herbs are not cheap by any means. So, okay, I think I'm just gonna make this the last one. Okay, there we go. Now it's simmering nicely, and they'll float to the top, and they'll probably simmer for, I would say a good 10 minutes would be good. The farina that they have, or the creamy wheat that they have now, is not like what my mom used to have. They used to, the original farina was in a small box, and this one, it says 2.5 minutes. You don't want to get the instant. Don't get the instant at all. You'll ruin your gnocchi. Yeah, so this is okay. These will just kind of, there. Can you see them? They're kind of puffing up. You see? I was wondering about the light here. If I turn that up higher, it makes such a glare that you can't see anything. If I turn on that light, it makes a glare. So I don't know if we would change those lights to see if you could see any better in there right now. But we try to kind of adjust the phone so you can see all right. I'm going to try my other camera sometime. Okay, so we're going to let this cook for about 10 minutes, and if you want, just at kind of a light simmer. You don't want to. It's simmering right now, but you can see how the gnocchi are absorbing that liquid inside. That's why you don't want to pack them. You want even the middle of them, or else it'll be very chewy. Our kids always said, I don't care, I like the chewy. But so you want them to be able to get to that farina and cheese in the center also. So you don't want to pack it. So just very light touch as you drop them. And if some of them fall apart, that's okay. It still tastes good. So I'm a pretty laid back cook is what I am. I get upset, cakes and breads and things that take a little bit more finesse, yeah, that I take care of. But with something like this, it'll taste good regardless of how it is. So what I'm going to do is I will post the recipe. I do have this recipe on our blog, so I will add a link to it. And I even have a recipe of how we made broth. But I'll tell you what, if you're in a pinch for time, and I don't criticize anyone at all, get a good brand of canned variety. We sometimes use the Swanson. It's a kind of a richer broth. It tastes better. But go ahead, and we always have it in the pantry because I don't know a week that we've gone by that we haven't used broth of some kind or other. So that's one of the things. And the Parmesan cheese, we always have that on hand. Now we did buy this for this particular, but I'll just go ahead. If we're going to keep it for any length of time, what I do is I put it in a bag and I put it in the freezer because I had it for a long time one time, and I don't want to tell you what I found. I did not make anything out of it, but I didn't want to have any meat with it. And there were little worms. It just wasn't very good. So anyway, I'm going to let this cook for a little bit longer, and I'm going to kind of show you what they look like. If you can see this, can you see that? They're very, very light. And if you can see on the inside there, right there, you can see that they're absorbing the liquid. So I will take a picture of this in a bowl, and I will add the recipe to the top or bottom of the post, wherever it'll go. I'll go ahead and add that so you can have it. And I'm so glad you joined me. And until next time, arrivederci. And I hope to see you next week. Bye.